let's go ahead and jump over to our scene that we have here. I'm just going to start out with a fresh Blender scene, and we can start on working on this thing. So we'll just delete our default cube. It's been a few weeks though, so I'm really excited to be back at this. Last week I was out of town, but I did post a tutorial. I hope all you guys were able to check that out. The tutorial is live right now on the YouTube channel. Try to figure out where this mountain is going to be. I like to use the landscape plugin inside of Blender in order to create my hillsides that I do. Although we're going to have to smooth everything out quite a bit, but this will at least give us a good foundation of what we're going for. This should be the front of the hillside that we're creating, so let's go ahead and move that back a little bit. And then there will be quite a bit of sculpting that we're going to have to do on top of all of this. But just kind of getting this in the general area of what we want should work just fine. And we'll swap over to sculpt mode already and just kind of start smoothing things out. Overall, just trying to get the shape here of the mountain down. And we can smooth things out because obviously it's going to have grass on top of it. Not too concerned about that right now. It's mostly just trying to get the shape. And this does go off camera, so we don't really have to worry about this side of it. I'm just using the elastic deform tool because that overall is kind of just like allowing me to move the entire structure of the ground. And then of course this just goes into the water, so we just need this to go below this plane here. And we will need to have kind of like this break in crevice area of where the door is going to be, so let's go ahead and kind of just burrow a little bit in that. You can use the inflate tool, and if you use the subtraction, it actually just digs into your selected area rather than inflating it outwards. And then I'm going to just go to wireframe real quick here, and then we're just going to select that, and we just kind of know where this overall section is going to be. The trick is to not make it feel like you're I don't know. It's got to feel more natural. All right, let's see. Let's clean that up a little bit, and then I'm just going to use the elastic deform here to kind of like bring everything back a little bit. I don't want to feel too round. I kind of want it to feel more natural with how it's hitting this. And then we're going to have kind of like this window over here. So just having like that section open up, and then maybe overall kind of like this smaller section here is where like the door ends. Kind of just shaping out everything to feel a little bit more how a hobbit hole would be in real life. And this will allow us to, let's just add a circle in. And then just rotate that by 90 degrees. Where is it at? There it is. Okay, we'll just scale that guy up. I'm going to move him over here. Just going to kind of line him up with where the door is, and then we can later make it ourselves like a wooden door out of this circle. So let's do median point origins and kind of just line everything up. Nice thing about hobbit holes is everything is just circles. You don't have to worry about, you know, crazy architecture. It is just a circle. Obviously, once we get a lot of the structure built into this, that'll allow us to really know what the ground should look like. Because it has to feel like everything is kind of like built in with the environment. I'm going to fill this in. Let's just move this up slightly here. I'm just going to add a little bit of thickness to this door. This will be our nice door that we have here in the center. What we could do is we can just duplicate and then scale this down to our size of our doorknob that we want, or the stem going into the door anyways. And we'll just extrude this. And we'll just scale it up. I'm just going to create kind of like a round doorknob. Add in a nice tree. Nice big tree. Do we got one of those? Well, actually like this. interesting because there will be like land here, but we're not going to see it. So I'm not going to model land there, but we do want to have like trees to make it feel like there's land there. So let's go ahead and add in some different trees. Put that there. Probably something right here. I'm actually going to go into sculpt mode on this. We just kind of want to smooth it out. It's not supposed to be so dramatic, you know? Go wireframe here, and then we'll just use the elastic grab tool to kind of drag this top ridge down a little bit. Just kind of have like a land that's basically back here. And we'll put some trees on this as well. I know they have the scatter option inside of this plugin, but it only works for grass. I wish they had it for trees as well. It's like, hey, scatter me a crap ton of trees that are different shapes, sizes, colors, whatever. Sometimes they're randomized trees. I just rotate them. Don't tell anyone. Although it is kind of suspicious that there is a chimney right under a tree. Can that catch trees on fire? If there was a tree here, would that catch, like, it's just smoke, right? If anything, it would cause ventilation issues by there being a tree here. Let's do that. I think that'll give it enough space. It's now not being completely covered by it, and it's still kind of in that shape that we want. And then we'll have smoke kind of coming out from the chimney here. But overall, for the layout and blocking, this isn't too bad so far. I'm pretty happy with everything. I'm going to just move that back here, but I'm going to press P for selection just to make it its own object. Let's scale this guy up. Well, we're not going to scale him up yet, but we're going to delete only the faces on this. That way we only have the vertices on it. And we kind of need to create the exterior of this door. So I'm going to scale it ever so slightly up. And we're just going to kind of have it come outwards. So let's just go ahead and bring this back here and kind of just line this up slightly. Don't want it to be too much larger than the door, but we do want it to be larger than the door. So find that in between area. You know what I'm saying? And that's good there. Kind of have that go out a little bit. Let's just extrude, scale it up a little bit. And then extrude again. I want to hit shade smooth on that. And then that's going to create a nice little lip for us. So now if we select the outside edges of this doorway, I'm going to hit extrude, but I'm not going to do anything with that. I'm going to hit extrude again and then grab that on the Z-axis. We're just going to move it slightly inwards. So we just want this like extra thing. I'm going to extrude again and then extrude again. And then this time we're going to scale outwards on the X-axis. I'm going to do a little bit on the Y-axis as well. Not too much. That'll be good. That way we can actually build around on the outside of this like door frame here. And then we could just fill in this section. Let's scale this by Z to 0. Just gonna keep guessing random numbers until I'm close enough. There we go. We're so close, guys. It's close enough. All right, it's close enough. It's close enough. All right, and then let's do a couple up here. Who knew I was so skilled at this, right? It only took like one try. First try, guys. First try. I'm going to select this object that's rotated here, and then if I just copy the Z rotation of it, I can paste that onto our new object. And go ahead and grab that and move this over here. But for all you guys that don't know, you can join our Discord. I always post the finished photo when it's done, same day. So it's not like a post time where it's going to come up tomorrow or anything like that. Wanted to point that to your guys' attention. In case I want to make any adjustments to this later, I'm just going to add in an array, and we can just use this on both sides of our doorway. Great. So now we just have to fix our environments. That way we can actually see these things. I'm going to hit the save button and let's go into here. So let's grab our sculpt button and I'm just going to use the elastic grab tool. It's the easiest thing to do in order to kind of stretch things over. Okay. Now let's create kind of like this curve piece here. Let's try to create like this curve that we want just using vertices. So we'll do Shift S, cursor to selected, and then let's grab this guy here and do selection to cursor. And then that way we have it starting on the origin. And I'm going to kind of create like this fall off section. Okay, that's pretty good. I like that. Let's just take everything now and we'll just extrude it on the y-axis straight up. And with that, let's take everything here. We'll just extrude it all the way inward. And I'm going to need to rotate it, the orientation of this as well. So I'm just going to select the orientation of the Z rotation. And we'll need to figure out, I know it's not the Z rotation. Oh, it is. Fantastic. That made everything easy. Booyah. That's all you got to do. I have these front faces. We're going to kind of just extrude that outwards. More problems. More problems. Okay, that works actually. And I'm fine with this kind of coming up here. And now we can definitely have space for windows on the side. So let's go ahead and do that. We are well on our way to success. And we'll just duplicate again. And just do this a few more times just to add in these kind of segmented lines. And it's okay if they're not perfect, because guess what? It just adds it to be a little more realistic. It's not perfect. As long as they go all the way into the back there. Much better that they're not perfect, because if they're not perfect, it just makes it look more realistic. Love that. Save. Is interesting though, because like this is one of those things where it's like the more imperfect it is, actually is better, because it makes it look more realistic. All these things were hand built, and that's anyways what I keep telling myself to make myself feel better about my bad modeling skills. It's just more realistic this way. Yeah, cages. Why do they got cages in the garden section? Probably something like that's good. You know, just like it is just like gonna be like a couple footsteps down from like the main entrance. That works. Okay, great. And then we can start adding in some grass and stuff around that to like really help sell it, because that's like pretty much the only modeling thing I feel like we have left on this before we get into some shading. And then let's do, they got scale randomness. Let's change that up a little bit there. Overall, our number could probably be doubled. Randomize. 100% randomizing this crap, guys. I'm going to first go to weight paint. This is kind of important. Let's go to weight paint. And then if we go to the data section inside of our properties menu, we're going to first add in a new vertex group here. And you don't need to name it, but I'm just going to name this for our weeds and stuff like that. We call it weed. All right, let's see. We're just going to select this. And really, you can do this from the camera angle. So that way you're not selecting anything that you're not going to be seeing. It's fine that we select all of this. It's fine that we select that. We'll add in our weeds. Okay. Firstly, it's going to add in it everywhere using the scatter node, but we can scroll down and we can say, hey, for the density, only do it on our weeds. Now it's only going to put it where the weeds are located. Overall, that's looking really good now. If you do want it to feel very heavy on the top here, but you don't want it to come through on the house, we can do that manually. So we can select this and maybe add in a new data group. And this new data group can be like a top or something. And change the weight paint, and then now we have this top selected inside of our vertex groups. We can select only this section, and I'm not going to need subtract. I'm going to want to have add, and we're just going to select this whole section up here. It's important that we don't have too much of that down there selected. So again, we can go in and select subtract, and then I'm looking at this through vertex group or X-ray vision viewing. It's not quite perfect, but we can fix that through our randomize orientation thing a little bit. And we'll use the knife tool here and just start at the top. And then kind of just go all the way around and delete only the faces. Kind of do the same thing here and delete only the edges. Use the 16K download of it. Link is in the description for this. So if you guys want to go to HDRI Haven, you can either Google it like what I just did, or link is in the description right down below. But what we can do is we can actually select this color and add in an environmental texture. Let's select that. And since this is already downloaded, I can go ahead and hit the open button, and we can find under our VFX materials this nice, beautiful HDRI that is free to use. The lower this f-stop number is, the more depth of field you're going to have. So we kind of want our front section here to be out of focus. And so we can actually make this, we just hike this number down until we find something. We're just going to remove the texture that it's on it. Just going to extrude that upwards, something like this. And even better, let's actually just make it smaller here. And then on the back side, we just grab that and then make it go up. Probably going to create like a new collection for it, and we'll just call it FX. I do want to find it, and then we'll just drag it into our effects tab, because this will be something that we want to turn off later. We'll just call this fog. We'll add in a new material, and this new material now we can swap out the principled VSDF with something that's like a scatter node, a volume scatter node, and we can plug this directly into the volume, and we'll change our intensity to something like 0.1, and then we'll just increase that to like a 0.6. Let's see how this looks here. Density may be a little too high. We want something very light. Nothing. Yeah, this is way too much. You can see, like, you can barely see anything. So let's do like 0.01. And even this is too much. But we want enough to where it feels like the environment is kind of like alive, and then that there is added some density to the environment in the world. Scale this guy up, something like here. And let's see, let's grab this face here and only delete the face. And if we just scale everything up, don't want to see it. So let's make sure that we're not seeing anything. That's perfectly fine. And then now if we go ahead and add in a new material, we kind of just want this to be a little bit darker. This will make it so that it doesn't feel so endlessly bright on this side of the image. So if we lighten this up, it'll have more bounce onto our surrounding environment. And we'll just grab this whole lip if we can. Control minus goes back one. Perfect. And that's just going to be the inside lip that we want. And so we can even just add in a new material now, and then we'll find the accent wood, and then we hit assign. Might need to adjust. I want this to kind of, the whole mountain, like at least the side of this right here, to come in a little bit more. That way we do see the edge of it. It is pretty thick right now. So let's go ahead and just grab the sculpt tool here and drag everything over. You got to be careful of is that we're not going to be adjusting up against the house too much. I'm going to render this out. So let's go ahead and do that real quick. I can render this out at like 50% resolution. So that way it renders pretty quickly. And then I'm going to turn on, let's see, let's set this to 1024 for the samples. No, not too many, not too little. Let's see, we are not having motion blur turned on for this one. And let's, for our data files, let's go turn on some crypto mats. Always makes it a lot easier, especially if we're trying to make any adjustments inside of our Nuke comp. Adding in another roto node. And we'll just kind of garbage mat select this whole area here. Pre-multiply that. What we're really trying to do on these images is we're trying to create shape for the viewer. So when they look at the image, their eyes aren't just going everywhere because everything is just so flat. We want our viewer to have their eyes drawn to like specific sections. So specifically with us, this makes sense for like, this is very bright, just as bright, actually brighter even, if you look at this, than like our overall section here. And people's eyes are drawn by brightness, they're drawn by shapes, they're drawn by symbols. So what we can do is we can actually darken like this section here and bring it down. And that way it's not as distracting for everybody. What could be nice is I love to add in a little bit of glow. Not a lot. When you first add in your glow, it's going to look terrible. It just kind of like overall blows everything out. But what you can do with this glow is you can increase the tolerance. That way it's only coming from like the highlighted sections of your image. And what this does is it adds like this really nice, lovely halation to your image that you really want. And it brings everything to life. Like it's just kind of crazy. Like it just adds a little extra flair to everything. And we could just go ahead and add in a roto node. So like if there's any areas that are like super like don't look good with that, like this particular section up here, for instance, we can go ahead and then just draw a shape over this area. And then we can say RGBA. And then for the glow, we just say, hey, invert whatever roto that we put into it. So that way it doesn't do anything in those particular sections. Now it looks like our render is finished from Blender here. So let's go ahead and say image, save as, and then I'm going to just remove the word temp from it. Go ahead and hit the save button. And if we go back to our Nuke comp now, just go ahead and find this other render that we have. If I just replace it, should work perfectly. This is essentially the picture here. This is the full CG render that we did today. This is I guess conclude today's render. I hope you guys enjoyed it. This was a fun one to make. Join the Discord so that way you guys don't miss any future live streams or videos. And I will talk to you guys next time when we do another live stream. Peace out, guys. Bye.